Assalamu alaikum everybody. Welcome again to our virtual class, and this is the 16th class of changing sentence. At first, I want to introduce myself. This is Musharraf Hussain, BA Honors, MA English, Assistant Teacher, English Department, Sitakund Girls High School. Dear students, look at the webboard. There is an example of positive sentence, and these positive sentence containing the word very few. Without this word, the sentence is an example of positive because there is an existence of an adjective, and the adjective is in positive degree, so the sentence is positive. And if the positive sentence contains very few, then in the comparative sentence we have to use the next part of s.s as a subject in the comparative sentence, and then we have to use verb, but this verb is plural because after very few we have to use plural nouns, so the verb also plural, but after Dhaka is a singular noun, so you have to use the verb singular. Dhaka is big, will be comparative, bigger. Dhaka is bigger. For very few we have to use here than, most, other, or we can use here than many other. Dhaka is bigger than most other, the next part, cities in our country. Then most other, many other will be used for very few. If we find very few in the positive degree, we have to use then many other or most other in the comparative degree after comparative degree. After comparative degree. Now superlative. Dhaka is big, will be biggest, because we are going to discuss about superlative, so big will be biggest, the superlative form of biggest. For very few, because we are doing from positive, for very few we have to use here one of the. For very few we have to use one of the. Biggest cities in our country. Dear students, for very few we have to use then many other or most other in the comparative, and we have to use one of the in the superlative for very few. Positive to comparative, positive to superlative. Positive sentence starts with very few, then we have to use then most other or many other in the comparative, and we have to use one of them in the superlative. One of the will be used before adjective, then most other or many other will be used after adjective. The students, in this sentence we have to think positive starts with very few, comparative will be started with then many other or most other, and superlative contains one of the. Positive to comparative, positive to superlative, comparative to positive, comparative to superlative, superlative to comparative, superlative to positive. The students, The students, there is an example of comparative sentence. A healthy poor man is happier than a sick moneyed man. A healthy poor man is happier than a sick moneyed man. The students, we are looking, there is only then. This sentence is an example of comparative, but before the rules has been discussed with than any other, many other, most other in the comparative sentence. But in this comparative sentence, we find only then, no any other, many other, most other. If we find here any other, positive will be started with no other. If we find here then many other or most other, positive will be started with very few. But there is no other, only then what should I do? The students, the next part of the then, a sick moneyed man. A sick moneyed man will be used at the first. The students, the next part of the then, a sick moneyed man will be used at the first for positive sentence. A sick moneyed man. And if the comparative sentence is in affirmative, in the positive, the sentence should be negative. And if the comparative sentence is in negative, the positive will be affirmative. This is an example of affirmative sentence, so the positive will be negative. A sick moneyed man is not, as the positive form of happier is happy. The students, after using the next part of the then, a sick moneyed man, then we have to use the verb, and then the sentence will be transferred to negative if the comparative sentence is in affirmative, and the comparative sentence is in negative, then the positive will be affirmative. Then the comparative degree will be transferred to positive with s or yes, and then the first part before verb, the first part will be used as the last part. The students, a healthy poor man is happier than a sick moneyed man. That means a healthy poor man is happier than a sick moneyed man. The positive will be a sick moneyed man is not as happy as a healthy poor man. The students, I think you have understood the class very well. The students, by the class, we have finished our discussion about functional sentence like assertive to interrogative, assertive to exclamatory, assertive to imperative, and complex sentence, that means structural sentence, simple, complex and compound, and comparisonal sentence like positive, comparative and superlative. In the next class, we will be discussing about active and passive or affirmative or negative. I think you will be waiting for our class. Till then, Allah Hafiz.